A lot of us know the easiest way to freak out the trolls is to show them that story from the New York Times with this clip in it, where it documents how 75% of the mass shooters in this country are black. That is a guaranteed freak out. Once you show that, your troll will go away forever. And if anybody needs more info, you can just say, listen, it's happening just about every day. I mean, what about out in Las Vegas? 5 fellas shot after neighborhood fights, air quotes. How about down in South Carolina? 3 people shot, 2 dead at a nightclub. How about down in Baltimore? 4 of the fellas on Boston Street in Southeast Baltimore. They were shot apparently for no reason whatsoever. All fellas. But one thing we don't hear enough about is not just, it's kind of the opposite of mass shootings, right? It's like, what about when 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 of the fellas, what about when they get together just to kill one person, to shoot one person? Yeah, that happens a whole hell of a lot too. Just like we're going to see here on the streets of Brooklyn.
We're literally going to see a 21-year-old male fighting for his life, running on the streets of Brooklyn, being chased by a group of at least 10 thugs.
You can see the victim running away as a mob of alleged gang members chase down Taquan Eversley. The disturbing video at one point shows the 21-year-old hiding behind a vehicle. Video from multiple surveillance cameras captured the wild scene, which took place in broad daylight right after 5 p.m. last Tuesday on Elton Street in East New York.
He tries to hide in the rear of a private residence and is successful as they're searching both sides of the block looking under cars. Eventually, unfortunately, they see him and they catch up to him as he tries to jump over a fence.
The most troubling part is here. Eversley jumping over this fence in the back of a home. His clothing gets caught on the fencing and he is now stuck, a sitting duck. One of the suspects throws a giant rock over the fence at a now defenseless Eversley. Then another one takes out a gun and shoots him multiple times in cold blood, leaving him for dead. Police say the victim was an innocent man.
This is eerily similar to last June in the 48th precinct in the Bronx when Lissandro Guzman was the victim of a mob chasing him through the streets of the Bronx. Overtones that are similar. This is a gun, not a machete or a knife, but you have gang involvement and literally hoodlums with no fear of the law, organized.
So right now, police already have 1 person in custody. They're looking for 9 people, but take a look at this video that you're looking at right now. These are 6 individuals that they've been able to identify through multiple cameras. So police just a minute ago releasing the name of 3 of the individuals that they're still seeking. Donovan McDay, a 29-year-old male, Shakur Huff, a 24-year-old male, and Alfred Crooks, a 22-year-old male.
The great Janelle Hill, you remember the great Janelle Hill, America's greatest sportscaster. He used to go on ESPN all the time, and instead of talking sports, reminded her sporting audience how much she hated Donald Trump because he was a bad person top to bottom. Anyway, she's still in the communications business, still putting out tweets. Today she put out a tweet reminding everybody, like asking everybody, why are we still hassling Jussie Smollett? Then she put up a little graphic that said, you know, the clearance rate for murder in Chicago is really low. So why aren't we using those cops to go catch murderers instead of bothering Jussie? Well, Janelle knows the answer to that better than you and I do. It's just like this story we just saw in Vegas. The 5 fellas shot in a quote-unquote fight. They got the guys in the hospital and they said, who shot you? And they all looked at the cops and said, we don't know nothing about nothing. So the only reason you don't have better clearance rate for murders in Chicago is not because the cops are eating donuts and drinking coffee. It's because the fellas know, to quote the Huffington Post, the fellas and the ladies know they are trained to protect the race at all costs. You do not turn black people over to the police because the police are an occupying force. I've heard mayors use that expression. Police are an occupying force. And to turn a fellow over to the cop is just about the worst thing you can do, even for murder, even for rape. How you like those numbers?
Please, sir. I want some more.
A lot of times on these videos, I kind of leave it to you guys to connect the dots And a lot of people do that really well. It might not be that fair to people who are a little newer around here or people who don't get a chance to watch all the videos. That's one of the reasons I'm doing my podcast now. We get into a little more depth. We connect a few more dots. And it's the kind of thing you can listen to on the way to work or listen to while you're piddling around the house, drinking a cup of coffee, getting ready to start your day. Getting a lot of good reaction to it. So thanks all you guys for listening to it and spreading it around. Even though we do know that the more we tell the truth about the fellas and the denial, deceit, and delusion around this incredible level of violence, criminal behavior, and dysfunction, well, we know that is going to make the black kids angry.